crazy thing about this is if they fall over, they can right themselves back up, but they are essentially zombie cockroaches.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They do not move.
Cool.
Okay.
All right.
She chews off both of the antennae about halfway, and she dog walks that cockroach to its impending death.
This episode is sponsored by Babbel. Speak like a whole new you with Babbel, the language learning app that gets you talking.
Here's a special holiday deal for our listeners right now. Get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners at babbel.com/wildest. Get up to 60% off on babbel.com/wildest, spelled BABBEL.com/wildest. Rules and restrictions may apply.
Thanks, Babbel. Welcome to World's Wildest.
Hello.
Hello. We have a very, very special episode with a very, 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 very special guest, the one and only, the apple of my eye, the light of my life, the extraordinary bug queen, Dr. Allison. Woo!
Hello.
I'm gonna cry.
Woo! We have a guest. This is our first guest episode.
Ever.
Allison, will you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Allison. I'm an entomologist.
Allison loves bugs, and Allison and Connor have been buddies for quite some time.
A long time.
Since 2011.
Since a long time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Today, we are going to talk about bugs because, as Allison said, she's an entomologist. We call her Dr. Allison because she has a PhD in entomology. Specifically, studied termites.
I did study termites specifically.
Didn't you
Termites.
discover new species of termites? You just haven't like genetically
I would never say that out
coded
loud.
them? Oh.
To describe a species is a lot of work. In my phylogenetic tree, there was evidence that there could be other species, but I have not ventured further into that. And
That's a lot of work.
And I will not.
Okay.
Yep.
Well,
Cool.
welcome to the Misinformation Podcast, where we bring on an actual entomologist with an actual PhD. But today, we're talking about the world's craziest bugs because we thought that would be fitting for our bug queen.
Woo!
And I'm going to try to stump her because we're going to do 2 truths and a lie to start this off. And first off, I want to say, don't remember the lies because they're pretty good lies. And try not
Welcome
to
to the
remember
Misinformation
that as
Podcast.
misinformation.
Or are they going to be like, just like you've removed like one word and changed something?
No, I'm not going to. That's an app. Can't say that. That's a really mean thing to do for 2 truths and a lie. It's not a good move. So these are like very clearly a lie. And I'm not just changing like, oh, it's, 89% to 90, like
Okay.
I'm not doing like
Okay.
one word off.
Okay.
And then also throughout the podcast, I'm going to be your typical skeptic. I'm going to act, okay?
Okay.
I hate bugs as an actor at the beginning of this episode. And you guys have to convince me why bugs are cool and why they're worth keeping around.
I mean, have you ever had
I'm acting.
like
by
a
the way.
fruit
P-
or a vegetable
Sometimes.
in your life?
Sometimes.
Would you enjoy them?
Sometimes.
Like maybe an apple or a tomato
They're
or a
fine.
cucumber or a
That's fine.
pepper?
They're fine.
It was probably pollinated by an insect. A blueberry?
Okay.
A blueberry matcha?
So why couldn't I do that myself? Why couldn't I go out and pollinate
Even
stuff
if you
myself?
hand pollinate things, so like everyone's like, oh my gosh, if all the bugs disappear, it's fine. We'll just pay people to hand pollinate them.
Or drones.
You still couldn't actually do that. Insects are so incredible at the way they pollinate that they increase like the yield and the size of the fruit. And if we hand pollinate, we're not as deft, even if it's a robot, we're not as deft as an insect. We cannot get into the, stamens and anthers. And so the fruit comes out kind of lumpy, kind of misshapen. My cousin hand pollinated her summer squash and they came out like lumpy and large and like very accordion shape because we just can't finesse in the way that bugs can.
That's so interesting.
I didn't know that.
Very interesting.
I've never thought about the shape and like perfection of fruits.
Oh,
being
and also
because of
like
pollination.
the size. And so like they'll use like melatonin, like stingless bees in greenhouse settings. And like the cucumbers will increase like 2 to 3 times the yield or like the amount. So like you will get so many more tomatoes because of pollinators versus like if you hand pollinated them. No, it's actually insane.
That's crazy. I didn't know
And-
that. Okay, I'm starting to come around already.
I mean, fruit, like food is incredible. Beneficial
Yeah.
insects are incredible. The reasons that we have soil instead of just a mass of decaying, rotting leaves that are turning into garbage juice everywhere is because we have insects that like break down the stuff in the soil.
Yeah, Connor, you wanna slurp up garbage juice on the ground in the streets? You wanna get down there and do that?
I'm
No.
good.
No. And also like the reason that water goes through soil is partially because of insects, because of like even termites that I studied, subterranean soil dwelling, tunneling through the soil, making a matrix. I mean, earthworms also do that, but you know, insects are another big part of that. They're incredible.
So I can't design an AI drone to do what insects do, but like if I were, how much would that cost me?
Well, I mean, technically, I bet you there's a way in like one day the world in which you can, but at what cost and size distribution can you do that? Because I mean, think about the acreage of how much we have for production of food.
I got taxpayer dollars. I can just put that to use for sure. Definitely, right?
Yeah, 100%.
How
That's
much?
it.
How much would it cost?
Like a lot.
I've totally
I'm
changed my
fishing
mind.
for a number here, okay?
How am I supposed to give you a number for what you're asking?
$500 billion a year is the number I was looking for.
Oh,
that
I thought you were
pollinators do.
asking
Because
about
that's like the-
specifically making
No.
drones that like aerate
Estimate
soil.
of pollinators in service for agriculture
Around the
that's just
world.
that's just the documented
Yeah.
estimate, and
Half a
that's
trillion.
it's. I bet you it's much more.
Sure.
I mean, considering for turf ornamentals and everything as well, and also the food that sustains wildlife that they pollinate that they don't include because humans are very human centered. So they're like, we care about what's for us.
That's just agriculture. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just. I mean,
yeah.
the number is it's limitless.
okay.
Past Wall Street,
Sure.
I
I mean,
mean-
yeah. If you want less taxes, keep insects around. Sure. love
insects got that bag.
Yeah. But like, are they in decline? Like, they're fine. I see insects all the time outside. Like, why do I need to worry about insects?
I mean, like there are some estimates, some research that say that insects are declining at a rapid rate. You got to think that insects are in the world's wildest. Because I mean, because they live in habitats that aren't urban, but they're learning, they're modifying to go into urban settings, but they're suffering because of a lot of habitat fragmentation. Every new shopping mall that comes in, I mean, so there's this bumblebee called like the rusty patched bumblebee, and it's an endangered bumblebee, critically threatened. And like one of its last known places of where it was living was where they were going to put a shopping mall complex. And like people couldn't fight it and get people to care. And you may think like, what's one bumblebee? Well, what happens when everyone says what's one, this, and then we put a shopping center there? It's a hard decision to make, and like you think about it as it goes on, it can have serious detrimental effects. I mean, aside from food and soil and pollination, they're beneficial. There are beneficial insect predators that eat pests. What if we're removing those and then we have nothing but pest insects, which are also like reported like less than 1% or like 1 to 3% of all insects are considered pests, and that's solely by your definition, right? Because like
Right.
people think some pest in a home are a pest versus like I look at them, I'm like, yeah, you're fine.
Right.
My cat loves those stinky brown marmorated stink bugs, Halomorpha halis. She loves to rub her face on there and then
Ew.
just get really
delicious.
stinky.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and get really stinky and then
hate
just
that.
like spread the stink. Is it a pest? Maybe. But I mean,
It's enrichment.
in the world, insects really matter. They may be gross to you, they may be unfamiliar, but the more you do even just cursory research, seeing how beneficial they are, it can change your mind. And I mean, that's what you've been doing, or changing people's minds, which I
They
think is a really
are.
cool thing.
In like massive decline, are they not?
Yes, but also we don't have like a survey number to know what was there.
It's hard to count bugs, guys.
Well, we could have lost things that we don't even know
Right,
exist.
yeah.
I mean, think about the rainforest, and they think it holds a massive amount of undescribed species and proportion, and things that may be responsible for like pollinating a single flower. I mean, there are specialists. I mean, if you've ever had a squash, a cucurbit, like if you've ever had a squash or a pumpkin, it's usually pollinated by a single solitary bee called a squash bee. And so I imagine like what other insects fill those roles
That's
that
crazy.
may have even disappeared. Yeah, squash bees. They're precious. Look up a squash bee sleeping in a tiny little squash blossom.
Squash bee
It's so
sleeping in flower.
Please, please.
I just learned that ants only sleep 48 minutes a day, and they take like little naps.
They do
Hundreds
sleep
of
at like
naps
all
throughout the
insects
day.
have different kinds of sleep. Like it's called like torpor or like quiescence, and all bugs have some different kind. They actually use like Drosophila, like fruit flies, to study like sleeping disorders in humans because we are very similar to insects. And so they
Crazy.
do work with like Drosophila for like working on seizure research or working with sleep disorders.
Right.
Because they've so well studied those. So like the insect brain, like the biggest piece, and this is really good for my crazy bug because I can describe to you now.
Okay.
They have these things called mushroom bodies, which is like insects, their nervous system and like their brain is like a series of branched like hotspots that go down the body. Because
Okay.
you know, like trauma warning, like if you cut the head off a bug and it still moves, because they've still got different brain, like I'm saying brain is in their like ganglia. They're like hot spots of nerves and bundle cords that travel like through the body in these pieces. And so like if you cut the head off, that's not where the motor movement function is. It's all in the chest and the thorax.
Interesting.
Yeah. And so why did I get on that tangent about ganglia? Oh, to describe mushroom bodies. The biggest part of the brain, like the what you would consider like the bug brain of Drosophila, so well studied, they use that for research in humans for like brain issues.
See, that's the kind of thing that Connor would love.
Yeah, like epilepsy, seizures, sleep disorders.
See, they're important because we can use them
The
for
research.
advanced
Oh,
humanity.
yeah. I mean, if you've taken a genetics course, you know Drosophila. I mean, that's they
I
do
mean,
genetic studies on
yeah,
them all the time.
all the time. And I mean, as far as the ethics, I would say it's much more ethical to study on Drosophila than it would be to study on people. But I mean,
Yeah.
you know,
Here soon we'll have AI models that we can do all of it on. So.
Audio listeners, she rolled her eyes.
All right, I want to get into two truths and a lie.
I love it.
So, can't look at my paper. You're not looking?
I'm not looking.
I'm not looking.
So, the first one, you'll have to tell me if it's truth or a lie. I'm going to read all three, and then you have to decide which one's which.
Okay.
Some species of butterfly migrating over the ocean store extra nectar in small pouches under their wings to save for long journeys. Number 2, Julia butterflies drink turtle tears. And
That's
number
100%
3,
true.
there's only one native species of insect living in Antarctica.
Only one living species.
Native species.
That's true. It's the Antarctic midge. And then
Are you
You
sure?
did just say that 2 were true.
yeah. So butterflies are actually so gross.
Yeah. Butterflies are not like cutesy, ooh,
No.
flower, ooh. Like they like eating dead things.
They love butterflies to like build up their spermatophore packets. So like that package of ooh la la that they pass on to mate. They need salt. They
Yeah.
need electrolytes. It's what plants
Okay.
crave.
Yeah.
And they get it from the tears of animals, feces of animals,
Okay.
or the blood of
Okay,
animals.
sure, sure.
Roadkill, excellent source of nutrients.
Yum, yum, yum.
For
Time
deers.
to make
Gotta
some
get that sperm
la
count
la.
up, yeah.
So I don't know the common name of Julia butterfly, but butterflies do drink turtle tears, a hundo pea. So I'm
Okay.
going to say the bottom 2 are the truths, and then this
I thought-
pack
Oh,
This
right.
pouch
Duh. 2 truths, 1 lie.
of nectar is
You should have seen
the
her face
lie.
when you read the first one.
And don't remember the lie, please. There's been some comments like, I remember the lie a little bit better than all the truths. Don't. Don't. So what do you think?
I agree with her, but I also saw her face when you read the first one, so I
Which just
was
seems
pretty
so
convinced.
far-fetched. What do they have, little backpacks?
Producer.
They don't have corbicula.
Get ready for the first image. Butterflies most likely drink their tear, or some of these Julia butterflies will drink tears for sodium and minerals from the turtles. And here's a picture. of
Yum.
Yum!
Salty tears.
Well, also, the reason that number 1 made me think it was a lie is because, so they
I haven't
just-
told you yet. Hold on.
Oh, okay.
Hold on,
I'm sorry.
hold on.
Please tell me
Yeah.
if I'm right or wrong.
All right, and then the next picture is the larval stage of the Antarctic midge, the only native insect in Antarctica. And they're studying because like,
How
holy,
lonely.
how do they live out there? So there's no ants, there's nothing out there.
They're
other
just
than-
stronger.
than those
Do
midges.
it better.
So yes.
Stronger.
Better, faster,
Stronger.
So the lie, again, listeners, the lie is butterflies don't have an extra like storage area under their wings for nectar when they're flying across oceans.
Yeah.
Okay, now you can go on your tangent.
Because the only reason that made me think I was like, suspicious, is because they recently found these Gulf fritillaries that were supposed to be migrating. They got caught in
From
ocean
Africa,
wind
right?
currents.
Yeah.
Yeah, and they got found tattered wings, busted, ragged, sad babies, and they didn't have any nutrients.
They came from Africa all the way to South America because they got caught in a storm.
Yeah, it was
Petition
insanity.
to
Crazy.
start a business, the three of us, butterfly fanny packs that we can give them. Micro crocheted fanny packs for the butterflies that are migrating so that they have extra nutrients. It's like packing them a lunchbox.
Or do you know
I'll
how
do
like
logistics. I just don't want to craft.
I would love to craft.
You don't want to micro crochet?
I would rather dig
Have you
massive holes at
seen
Alveus in the rock.
Micro crochet?
Yeah.
It is insanity.
I'll
They
invent
use
a
like
robot to do it.
they use like needles to like one piece of string, like one piece of thread to make something.
It's what they need, and we'll do
We
it.
can make that.
I would do so many other things.
Well,
Sharks,
I mean, like
sharks being everybody listening, I request. How much money do we need for that?
$600,000.
I request $600,000 for 0% in our company, but you will be helping the butterflies. Thank you for listening.
Yes. And also skilled labor. If we could make them tiny saddlebags, like how bees have corbicula, they have like pollen baskets on their side. We could make them tiny corbicula, and we could call it
Butterbags.
I'm living my nightmare right now.
Sharks were asking for a $1.1 million investment
we put
every
trackers in
year
For 0% equity.
for 0% equity to make butterbags.
Thank you.
I will join if I could put trackers in them.
Thank you very much.
Okay, whatever.
I've accepted.
Okay, thank you. I know.
But why are you so obsessed with them? literally, why are you so obsessed with them?
Weird. This episode is sponsored by Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify. It is home of the #1 checkout on the planet and the not so secret with Shop Pay that boosts conversions up to 50%.
Meaning way less carts going abandoned and way more sales going up. Cha-ching. So if you're into growing your business, your commerce platform better be ready to sell wherever your customers are scrolling or strolling on the web, in your store, in their feed, and everywhere in between. Businesses that sell more sell on Shopify.
Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. You can sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/wildest. Wildest is all lowercase. You can go to shopify.com/wildest to upgrade your selling today. That's shopify.com/wildest. WILDEST. Thank you, Shopify. The secret's out. It's no secret. Businesses that want to grow with Shopify.
All right, number 2.
Okay, I'm not looking.
Cockroach bodies can survive without a head for 1 to 2 weeks. The second one is the first insect in space was a fruit fly. And third, some species of grasshoppers grow a new pair of wings each year to improve their flight skills.
That is the worst 2 truths and a lie I'm sorry.
Connor, you're
Are you
doing
sure?
a really good job, and I'm actually a really big fan of you.
You're
thank
doing
you.
a really great job.
Are you sure? I spent so long to stump the PhD.
I'm really sorry.
I used ChatGPT and it didn't do
Well,
it justice.
that's why it's
I didn't
wrong.
do justice, and I took it up a level.
They can't regrow wings. There's only the only thing
Are you
that
sure?
can regrow things is Ephemeroptera, mayflies. They have a subimago stage, which has wings, and when they molt,
Stupid.
it turns into an adult with wings. I really.
But
Are you about
are
to
you
stump me
sure?
in some way? How could they regrow wings?
Have you read Nature
Idiots.
2 weeks ago when it came out?
No.
How do you know?
Is this true?
All right, Maya. So which ones do you think are true?
It was cockroaches can live without a head for 1 to 2 weeks.
Yep.
True. Second
Okay.
one was what?
The first insect in space was a fruit fly,
True.
Unless it was a tardigrade.
and then
it's
some
probably
species of
different.
grasshopper grow
Is
a
a
new
tardigrade
pair
an
of
insect?
wings
No,
each
that
year
was-
to improve their flight skills.
I think the last one is a lie as well.
What do you think?
Well, I just don't like how suspicious
He's
you're
just-
acting.
he's
but
being-
they
he's
can't.
gaslighting
They
you,
don't
Allison.
regrow wings. Once you at wings, you're at the final stage. It's like it's like at a bird, and you're like, can you regrow this wing? Like,
They regrow feathers?
but they don't regrow wings.
It could be just maybe it's badly worded. It's just like that part of the wing.
You wrote it.
Badly worded.
Now that I'm listening to it now.
structure
Okay.
the structure of a wing cannot be in my knowledge of all of my degrees
the
that
full
come from
wing.
entomology. Oh, not the full,
Yeah.
not the full wing. He
but
says.
like the clear part of it.
like the Himelytra, like the
Sure,
like the
Himelytra, definitely.
well, grasshoppers
Okay,
don't.
all right.
Grasshoppers
Anyway,
don't have Himelytra, but I mean,
is the first one true or a lie? Do you think?
oh, did you just change the lifespan of how
No, I
long
wouldn't
it
do
can
that.
live without
No,
1 to
I
2
would never.
weeks?
I would never do that.
Well,
That's
didn't I
really dumb.
just explain the fact that you can cut a head off a cockroach and it can scurry
Yeah,
about?
I didn't know you. I wrote this last night. I didn't know you'd
Is
say
it
that.
true
now.
that they die just from like
Dehydration.
dehydration,
Yeah.
starvation, essentially? Okay, so that one is true.
Okay, and then the first insect in space was a fruit fly. that
That's the thing. I'm not totally sure. But also the wing thing is really messing me up, man.
Okay, is that your lie? The final answer?
I'm going that it's my lie.
So, yeah, the cockroach body can survive without outside for 1 to 2 weeks. That is true. You guys kind of already talked about it. They die of hunger and thirst before anything else.
Okay.
And then the first insect in space was a fruit fly, a
Okay.
V2 rocket on
Okay,
the
with the
20th
misinformation photo.
The 20th.
That's not a fruit
Allison,
February.
please describe to audio listeners what we are looking at right now.
We're looking at a sarcophagid, like a flesh, like a garbage eating fly.
Allison, please describe to audio listeners that are stupid what we're looking at right now.
Okay, let me paint you a word picture. We're in space. Not the extreme audio producer, but the location. We're looking at the world. There is a garbage eating fly, not a Drosophila. There is
It's a housefly.
There is
It's
a
like what
yeah,
it's a
like a
fly.
musket or a sarcophagid. I mean, one of
Yep.
those like
One of
nasty eating flies wearing a space helmet.
Yes.
A V2
Because
rocket
they
on
have
February 20th.
spiracles on the side of their body where they have air, not
They
even
couldn't
their
even
head.
breathe from their mouth.
They breathe from their side.
A V2 rocket on the 20th of February, 1947, sent these guys up because they wanted to see if radiation would mutate their genes
That's fair. That's
before
fair.
they send up people.
Also, I
Because
don't
you
want to be a
said-
hater. You've done a really good job with these two truths and a lie.
Okay, well, thank you. I
Yeah.
appreciate it. I'm working on my PhD as well for entomology.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, they wanted to. You said earlier that flies are similar to people,
Mm-hmm.
and they use them for studying.
Yep.
And so the genome is actually pretty close, which was interesting. I was learning about this.
For if I'm acting like a listener right now, you just said flies are similar to people, and she goes, mm-hmm. And I think that people want to know more about that.
We just have very similar nervous systems. Like, think in the world of pesticides. Like, so there are these pesticides that kill bugs. Great. They also affect us exactly in the same way. Like, so like there are pesticides that affect the nervous system of bugs. It affects our nervous systems genuinely the same way. It opens the same receptor within our brain, except like, you know, people will be like, the dose makes the poison. You can drink so much water, it kills you. It's the same. We're really big. And so it doesn't kill us immediately, but it has the detrimental effects that it would have on an insect. So like, say, yes, it causes an insect to seize and like die within that span. It causes us to have overexcitement and can cause seizures and can cause memory loss. We're very similar, even though insects have that different like chain branch. We have a nervous system that spreads through our body. So does an insect. And I mean,
We're just like them for real. They're just like us for real.
they have differences, right? So like they only have
I
like
can't think of a single one.
they're the same.
Sure.
They have a heart of gold 3 times the size. No, I mean, like they have like a digestive system that goes through, although they literally have to rip out their digestive system, like part of it every single time they molt. It like has to like come out like both sides. There's only like one part that stays permanently in.
Ouchie.
It's hard work to be a bug.
Yeah.
But I mean, we're a lot more similar than we would that people like to think.
Right.
You know, there's a lot of research coming out that like there's maternal care for evidence and like some different like bumblebee species they're doing like looking at evidence of maternal care. There's research. Most of it's in the eusocial because you can get a lot of money in those, right? Or agricultural pests. Like those are the 2 pillars of entomology. You kind of like the basic the basic like think like in a lab with like test tubes and stuff, researching how
My
like
favorite for
a part of
military
an
applications.
yes, for like how part of an insect could affect like a reproductive strategy or something. So that basic, and then you have that applied. And so like if we go do research out in the field, we can reduce this pest on this agricultural crop using this method. And it's a lot more like hands-on stuff where you're not like manipulating the insect, but like maybe the environment. And so I mean, it's incredible like how you can use insects as a model organism for us. We're very similar. We may not look the same,
Right.
but there's like some research they can feel pain potentially. They can become addicted to substances. They can become addicted to like opioid like poppies.
Can they get addicted to
They're
Red Bull
making them
like I
addicted
do?
to opioids in labs.
They actually do test. Okay.
That's so messed up.
Some they do test like to see if they're attracted to like some substance because like they use nicotine, like the base of nicotines and like neonicotinoids. Like you may have heard like the bee kills in parking lots because of neonics.
Yeah.
They're taken off of. It's based off of nicotine, which was one of the original pesticides.
Yeah.
Because it kills really like bad and like, it kill you if it leaches through your skin. Like when they were collecting like tobacco leaves. Yeah. No, the opioid stuff is like the opiate-like compounds in poppy flowers. They're trying to research whether it has like a somewhat addictive effect so that bees keep coming back to, or like pollinators keep coming back to pollinate that.
Right.
Ugh.
Yeah.
I don't like that.
It's crazy. I love yapping about bugs.
Where were we? Flies in space. Yes. Fruit fly, first fly in space. And then the lie is...
The grasshoppers don't regrow wings.
No.
All right, well,
Man, we took
Apologize.
a long way to get back to there. But
apologize for gaslighting Dr. Allison
Please,
now.
thank you. You were so suspicious. You were like,
I'm just
are
good at
you
it."
sure? Are
Yeah.
you sure? Yeah, there's only one that has...
I'm sorry,
like,
I
millions.
gaslit you for the millionth time, Allison.
I forgive you.
Thanks.
It was good. No, it was great. I really like the dedication that you've done. And
Thank
I
you.
will say, like, knowing you, growing up with you, I think your appreciation for, like, insects has really grown in a respectful way. And I'm, like, really excited about it. And I think that maybe a CEO boss extraordinaire, Sharks, may have had something to do with that. But I hope I've played
It was
a
all you.
small
Thank
role.
you.
It was all you.
Thank
Yeah.
you.
And it doesn't have to do anything with Maya being like, I'm going to fire you if you kill this bug.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Who can't love Hank?
Speaking of bugs,
Please tell me about your amazing...
we each brought a crazy bug today.
A crazy.
Crazy bug.
Bug.
And Allison already knows about my bug because we can't stop talking about bugs.
Always.
So she knows. But I'm doing the Apomus beetle, the frog-eating ground beetle, not to spoil or anything.
The frogs are so cute.
They're very cute. They're very small. Little tiny guys. We'll pull up a picture. They're this like metallic, kind of like blue
That can eat a
greenish
frog?
little beetle. They're
What
found
kind of frog?
all over the place.
Big boys.
Here's a distribution map. There's from iNaturalist of observations. They're like really everywhere. So yeah, they eat freaking frogs. Audio listeners, it was small. It was maybe like half a pinky nail.
Yeah, beautiful
Small.
green, hard... What's the word of their shell?
Oh, the
Kite.
elytra.
Sure. Yeah. Very
The
green. and
elytra
pretty.
is like the armor of a beetle, like the back,
Yeah.
the hard wings. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Okay, Minecraft.
Minecraft. So they eat frogs, salamanders, other amphibians. Their larvae and the adults eat frogs.
Crazy.
What? They're so small.
Here's how the larva does it. We'll start with when they're little tiny babies. We'll pull up a picture of a larvae. So larvae lure amphibians by alternately waving their antenna, and they move their jaws. So they're like beep beep beep, like come here, come here, come here. You know how you get a little cat and you go pss, it's like that, but for frogs. And then once the frog attacks, the larva jumps on the frog, grabs its face, and attaches itself to the frog. With double hooked jaws. This is like, you saw the size of the adult beetle. These are small.
Yeah.
The proportions
What?
make no sense.
They're so fast.
They're
Frogs are
really fast.
There's like a lot of things that are super savage. This is one of them.
This is one of them. So they have an almost 100% hunting success rate, at least when they were doing this in a lab setting. So they did 400 tests
That's a lot of tests.
in a lab setting.
Okay.
The frogs only managed to actually get the larva in their mouth 7 out of 400 times.
Wow.
And all of those 7 times, the frog ended up spitting it out. And then the larva turned around and went again and then ate the frog.
They're like, gotcha.
Yeah.
I'm still not understanding eating the frog, but I'm sure we'll get there.
Yeah. And then one out of all 400 tests, one of the frogs was able to successfully swallow the larva. But then you could see it kind of like moving around in the frog's stomach for 2 hours. And then the frog regurgitated it. And then the larva, seemingly unharmed, turned around and killed the frog.
That's
that ate it
insane.
2 hours prior.
That
and
is like
ate the
alien
frog.
stuff.
It's bizarre.
It's alien predator stuff.
They kind of like doink the bodily fluids of the frog, and then they kind of like rip it apart because they have really strong jaws, and then they eat it all.
One larvae per frog.
Yeah.
Can you like it does eat 20% of it?
All
Or the
of
whole
it.
thing?
Pretty much all of it. It's pretty much just bones left. Sometimes they
reduces
leave
it.
like the head.
How does
It reduces it to bones.
like how like over like a week?
No, hours.
What?
The adults are in hours. I don't know about the larva actually.
I don't know. I'm least
Like more than one adult. The adult.
One adult.
One adult.
How
One
big
adult
are
and
these
one larvae.
frogs? Frogs are huge.
They're frog size.
How do they eat? They don't have. Are they like pooping as they're going and like super efficient?
I'm sure
Like,
they have to like compress and like secrete fluids. There are insects that like while they're eating, they're constantly shoving the liquid out. So like they're getting the nutrients and then they're like constantly like spitting out liquid. That's a thing. Like that's how aphids work, and that's how like ants farm aphids because they're like constantly drinking in plant juices and then like spitting out sugar water. It's like can be a similar instance in this.
Delicious.
It's a factory. That's insane.
Yeah, and then the adults, the way that they kill frogs is they kind of jump on them, and then they make an incision on the hind legs of the frog that paralyzes the frog, or so it can't use their hind legs. Gil
Wisen.
Gil Wisen is an entomologist and has really, really great photographs.
He's
I got
really
a lot
cool
of my
guy.
information from this, or from him. He hypothesizes that the incision is damaging the connection of the muscles in the rear legs of the frog. So, because it's not venom, it's just like a slice.
Wow.
Like a
So they can't jump away.
Super ninja.
Super
like,
ninja incision
very-
slice.
But can you also imagine how these insects evolved to know that
Right.
that successful
Yeah.
behavior is the one?
Hey, you do what you got to do, okay? These things are eating you. How about we eat them instead?
Do you
Just
know
turn
what I have
around.
to say though? Do you know what I have
Yeah.
to say though? Slay.
Slay.
Like, you're slaying the leg, but also slay.
Do what you gotta do. That is the freaking frog-eating ground beetle. I think they're one of the craziest bugs because what the heck?
That's
Crazy.
insane.
Crazy.
Thank you for listening. This episode is sponsored by Babbel. 2025 is coming up fast.
Yeah.
And Connor and I both love traveling.
Big time.
And one of my resolutions is to travel to a different country. What about you, Connor?
Same.
Be pretty fun.
Yeah.
And you know what would be awesome in traveling to a new country is bringing a new language with you. You can speak like a whole new you with Babbel, the language learning app that gets you talking. You can do quick 10-minute lessons, handcrafted by over 200 language experts.
Wow.
Babbel gets you talking a new language in just 3 weeks. And because Babbel is the key to really knowing a language, Babbel is designed for real conversation. There's over 16 million subscriptions sold. Babbel's 14 award-winning language courses are backed by a 20-day money-back guarantee, so it's risk-free.
Here's a special holiday deal for our listeners. Right now, get up to 60% off your Babbel subscription, but only for our listeners. At babbel.com/wildest, get up to 60% off babbel.com/wildest, spelled BABBEL.com/wildest. Rules and restrictions may apply. Tell us about your
love
book, Allison.
Oh, I'm so excited. I just wanted to spoil it. I think it's incredible. What about mind control? That's kind of crazy, right? I feel like mind
Yeah,
control is kind
sure.
of crazy.
It's cool.
Zombification,
Love
kind
it.
of crazy,
Yeah.
kind of insane. Okay.
It's cool.
Let me paint you a word picture.
Okay.
You are a female wasp in the family Ampulicidae. You're an Ampulex wasp.
I know
already
exactly
there.
what that
Commonly
is.
called jewel wasp, or spoilers, the emerald cockroach wasp. If you would please, show a photo. She's gorgeous. She's
They're so
small.
pretty.
She's shiny.
Very pretty.
She's very small. She's about maybe like the size of like my thumb to my knuckle. She's kind of small.
Is this where like the Ant-Man and the Wasp costume comes from?
Ooh, I love the inspiration. I don't know.
Because the Wasp has that kind of color as well
Yeah.
in her costume.
They're like metallic blue,
Yeah.
guys. They're really pretty.
I bet it does.
But why I think she's crazy. She's a little loco moco.
Okay.
Is completely how she reproduces.
Okay.
And it's incredible. So, mind control. I take you back. So, these are parasitoids of cockroaches in the Paraplaneta genus. So, like, think the American cockroach. But fun fact, the American cockroach is not from America. It's from Africa or Southeast Asia, which is where these wasps are. We don't have them in North America. They have been accidentally introduced into Brazil because that's just how it happens.
Sure.
You know, global trade, we have global spread.
Right.
Anyways, so she's a parasitoid, which means she uses...
Parasitic.
Yeah, she's parasitic.
Okay.
She's parasitoid in the most incredible way.
Okay.
So, painting you a word picture, I am a female wasp. I am on the hunt. I have located a cockroach. What do?
Say
Lay
hi
your
to it.
eggs in it.
No. I first sting it
Mm-hmm.
Where?
in the nervous system, right here in the chest and the thorax.
How do they get up under it?
It's
Do
kind
they
of a
flip
messy
it?
sting. She's small. She can go under. It's so like
Oh, she's that small.
she's very small. She's much smaller than the cockroach.
Oh.
How? You're just out in the open and you sting it right in the thorax. What does it do? It's like full. So like her venom is full of like antagonistic inhibitors, like GABA, like things that like we take as like anti-anxiety supplements to like calm down the nervous system. Is like a lot of like what
Like gabapentin?
like GABA, like beta alanine, like
Oh.
agonist receptors. Yeah, it's like what the venom makeup is. It's crazy. It's
Okay,
crazy.
okay.
So she first messy sloppy sting right in the chest.
She
halts
says,
movement.
"Be calm."
Halts movement.
Okay.
Doesn't necessarily it calms.
But they
Halts
love it. They're like,
movement.
oh, thank you. I
Why?
just had too much anxiety.
Why? So they stay still for a second. Why? Because she's going to look for the ganglion that controls its fight or flight response, right at like the base of the brain. So maybe not the mushroom bodies, but it's called like the subesophageal ganglion. So
Okay.
you have to take time, precision, like a surgeon, looking for where to sting this next place. Once she does, all bets are off. It's like when you're playing like a game and you're a character and you just walk away from the remote and you're just hanging out there. You're just still. You're not moving. That's the cockroach.
Okay.
She has inhibited the flight or fight response. Crazy thing about this is if they fall over, they can right themselves back up, but they are essentially zombie cockroaches.
Okay.
They do not move.
Cool.
Okay?
All right.
Oh.
She chews off both of the antennae about halfway, and she dog walks that cockroach to its impending death. She grabs it and leads the zombified cockroach that is like
She's
can't run away.
pulling
She's
at it?
pulling it because she's too small. She's like this big compared to a cockroach.
Okay.
And she dog walks this cockroach to its impending death. It is still alive.
Where's it going
It's still
to die?
functioning. She's going to a burrow. She's going to make a burrow.
Okay.
She's going to make a burrow and she's going to put this living cockroach that is just a zombie, a mind controlled. She is dog walking this thing.
I thought it was just like super chill.
I mean,
It got all the drugs. So it's just like, I'm just having a good time. It's like, oh, this looks fun. Gonna go to the lair.
yeah, you want to be a zombified where you can see
If
everything that's
I-
happening to you and you're just kind of accepting it.
If I have gabapentin and beta alanine and all these other drugs in my system, this could be fun.
It's not technically gabapentin, but yeah, I mean, it's bit of
Kinda.
We're making
Closest.
close relatives
Yeah.
in the veterinary world. You can make the connections.
Sure.
So, anyways, she takes it to a burrow.
Okay.
They're solitary wasps. They do all of this on their own. And so she takes it to a burrow. She lays an egg on top. She leaves it there. She's done. She's out of here. She can do to it like a couple dozen cockroaches in her lifetime. They actually tried to use these as biocontrol once. In the 40s, everyone was obsessed with like, if we take bugs and put them everywhere, they will control all of the pests because they control American cockroaches. They're big pests. And so they tried it in Hawaii. Didn't work because she doesn't do a lot. A couple dozen cockroaches in her lifetime is pretty hardcore.
Right.
Anyways, this egg hatches and it burrows into the cockroach. Basically
The
uses
cockroach
it.
is it like does it stay paralyzed this whole time?
It's not technically paralyzed, but it stays in that zombie-like state.
Forever.
Yeah.
Oh.
Eventually,
Well, until it like
Until it dies.
until it dies. There are some like they did some research like with the venom and like seeing if the cockroaches could overcome it. And I think like from my memory, because I'm pulling this out of the memory bank, that they were able to eventually like overcome and right themselves.
Okay.
But this cockroach is going to die because you have
How fast do the eggs hatch?
I don't know exactly.
A few days?
A couple weeks. It takes a couple weeks. Yeah.
That's crazy.
That
That's
sucks.
so
Yeah,
long.
yeah, at least, yeah. It's no. Well, I mean, like it's gonna die faster, right? And it's gonna eat the innards
Right.
to survive, like an
Right.
Ensure nutrition shake,
Fun.
and then eventually form a pupal
Milkshake.
casing inside the cockroach to protect it. So it's like biohacked itself, the shell. I don't know exactly what the time for development is off of my dome, off of my entomologist dome. It takes a little bit.
I was wondering if it's like a few days, but
And
if it's more than a few days,
the cockroach will die eventually. In
right,
a
but
few
it's
days,
just
right?
frozen for weeks in the stage in a hole
At least
in the
a few
ground.
days. Yeah, in a hole in the ground in a burrow, and it's having
Okay, that's
something
not fun.
eat through it.
Yeah, it's not fun.
Journal of Hymenoptera Research says first instar hatches within 3 days of oviposition.
Okay, and then it burrows in.
Second instar, 4th day, third and final instar, day 6.
Okay, so about a week. Takes about a week.
Jeez, it's a long
So
time.
crazy.
That's a lot of drugs.
But it's like biohacked its way into like having protection for this offspring and nutrition. Like it's made itself like nature's egg yolk, giving it this, and then they hatch, and then they go and do it again. Like they go out and do it on their own. Mind controlling, dog walking that
that's
thing
cool.
by
Walk
the
'em like a
antennae.
dog.
To have evolutionarily to I'm really interested in the drug side of it, to
It is
evolutionarily
crazy.
get there,
Yeah.
and for it to last that long, because like even human drugs that we synthetically make in the lab
Well,
don't
like,
last more than 24 48 hours.
Part of it is like the pair of like being burrowed into and like being targeted in a specific area, right? So
Sure.
like eventually the cockroaches can overcome it. I
right
believe.
after like
If
probably
they
a few
were
days,
not, if it
yeah.
wasn't successful.
Sure.
Yeah. But I mean, insane.
That is insane.
You have a very
Wow.
quizzical face.
I'm just looking at pictures, and I've been trying to send them to our producer, and they're not working for some reason. But look at
It's crazy.
That's cool.
That's exactly where they deliver.
I know
So
that's what I'm looking at. That's why I was
the
like,
size
what the heck?
difference.
esophageal
Yeah.
ganglion right there. That's like, it's insane. And that ganglion, so like the thoracic ganglion, the first one they do can be kind of sloppy, but it controls all motor movement because all of insects' locomotory, like their legs and their wings, are only in one piece, only in the thorax.
Yeah. That's
And
cool.
so it completely it just stops the movement right there. It's insane.
That's crazy.
It's really cool.
That's
crazy.
really cool.
It's
That's
crazy.
crazy.
You said crazy, so I mean it's crazy.
That's crazy.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
crazy.
It's crazy.
We're doing world's craziest.
Anyways.
Well, I've got the final crazy insect, and I did it because it's very, very large. And I thought,
Okay.
because of how large it is and how critically endangered / pretty much extinct,
That's crazy.
is crazy. So, the Weta, right? Giant Weta, saying that right?
Oh, the Weta?
Weta, thank you, Weta. That's my
Good start.
entomologist here.
Wetas are crazy. Oh, wait, this is a good one. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you.
Show a
Thank you.
pic.
So, according to BBC Science, the giant weta is the world's heaviest insect. And they even said maybe like even the largest.
Holy,
Look at that.
what the heck?
They big.
Describe it, Maya.
It is a grasshopper in the size of a guy's hand. Okay, it looks like a grasshopper in the size of this guy's hand, but it's like the size of his hand.
It's like
It's like a-
katydid-ish too.
It's
Yeah.
like katydid-ish. It's like a fat breakfast sausage
It is.
in his hand.
It is gigantic. The max size they've recorded is 71 grams, which is quite heavier than a lot of songbirds. You're looking at like a big cardinal. It's like 65 grams.
Oh wow.
So gigantic, very heavy. They're found in New Zealand, and they are nocturnal. The male tree wetas have giant mandibles they use for fighting. Producer, could you please bring up the video?
Johnsonville original recipe breakfast sausages are weighing at 55 grams. Just for reference.
I love that you looked up that. I love that.
It's bigger
size
than a sausage.
reference.
It's bigger than a breakfast sausage.
So take a look at this video. It is a researcher with the tree weta, and this is the male. Look at these mandibles, Maya.
Ow!
Kinda
They can
rude.
draw blood,
They're biting.
but
Whoa!
They-
It looks like it's got like a yellow and black striped bee body with like a termite head.
Well, they're basically like, don't mess with me. I'll F you up.
Yeah,
and they
I mean-
huge
can.
mandibles.
I
Like, they
wouldn't be
can.
messing with that.
Grabbing big
Huge
pieces of
mandibles.
skin. They can draw blood, but like the researcher's like, yeah, this one's like decently nice. But what they do is they have a harem of females that they keep in their like tree burrows or ground burrows, and they protect them from other males coming in there, and they'll fight each other with their giant mandibles, which is pretty cool.
Okay, you know
Makes
what's
them
kind
pretty
of crazy?
crazy.
It's just kind of giving like Flava Flav energy, like the old MTV dating show, like the VH1 dating show. It's just like with
I never watched
a
that.
harem of females.
All right.
Hey,
I know Flava Flav, but that's it. With the
I don't
giant
know. I
clocks,
just
that's all
like
got.
the personality. It just seems like a very like
Yeah.
personable weta.
Yeah.
I mean, I've had blood drawn by a bug before. A unicorn Katie did.
Yeah.
Vicious,
Vicious.
horrible. It hurts. So I
Yeah,
bet you
I'm
that
sure.
doesn't feel good.
Yeah, probably not great.
It's pretty crazy.
So the diets of the wetas are mainly lots of leaves and fruits, but they're also known to eat other insects. But look how cute. It just looks like a grasshopper. So their habitats is grasslands, shrublands, forests, and caves, because there's a cave weta. There's like 4 or 5 species of them. They make holes under stones, rotting logs, or trees and occupy preformed burrows. Here's the sad part. They're almost extinct.
No.
So in mainland New Zealand, there's very few places that they live.
But
But they can only survive on islands because guess what's eating them? What's eating them?
I don't know. Birds, people.
Rodents.
Rodents,
Rodents
rats,
and feral cats.
feral cats. That's a L.
Yeah, in the 1800s, they were pretty much wiped off the mainland because they just brought in rodents off the ships coming to visit New Zealand.
Save a weta. Bring your cat inside.
Exactly.
True.
So right now what they're doing is they are going to islands. There's a few islands that they're fine. There's no rodents on there. There's no feral cats, so they're doing just fine. But they're going through all the islands around New Zealand, not all of them, most of them, getting rid of all the rodents, all the feral cats, and then they have a huge program to breed and release these guys through the
cool.
Auckland Zoo. And then the New Zealand government is all about this because it's a huge like keystone species for the forest because they eat a lot of leaves. They poop quite a bit. They're huge. Their poops are huge.
Leave the leaves.
And
Good fertilizer.
Great fertilizer. So they evolved in isolation for 190 million years. And they really evolved just for predators like birds, reptiles, and bats. So they weren't really equipped to deal with feral cats. Rats, mustelids apparently are invasive, and hedgehogs are invasive as well, eating these guys. So
I was gonna guess birds as a predator.
Yeah.
Also, I think there's a really gorgeous, for some reason in my mind, I'm thinking of like a really gorgeous, like bright green weta that has like yellow spicaroonies on it or something. I'll have to see if I can't find it because I'm thinking that there's like a gorgeous winged weta that's like bright green and red and yellow, and it's got fun. Is anything like that exist?
I didn't see. I only looked at like the tree weta.
Let me see.
And the giant
we
weta.
can maybe that'll be like a bonus Patreon thing or something.
There we
Allison
go.
finds a picture of a weta.
Yeah, join us on Patreon ad free. I thought they were incredibly cool how huge they are, and those could be really good ways for, maybe not the male tree wetas that bite, but like it could be a really cool way.
Crazy.
Here's a picture the producer just brought up. Describe it, Allison.
Can't do a word picture. So this is like one of those. Is this like a mossy green moss weta? It looks like it has moss on its body. Think like a grasshopper from like Alien Predator series, but like in a colorful land that looks like it dipped in acid, and it's like very green, very mossy, yellowy. Looks a little nefarious. I'm not gonna lie. Like I know you
Very
want to save them.
camouflaged.
Very well camouflaged. I mean, insects camouflage crazy. You could do a whole episode on that,
Oh, yeah.
and you
It's
should.
true, we should.
You should on Crypsis and camouflage. Both of them fantastic.
What's crispus?
Crypsis is like how they camouflage themselves like other insects. It's like just a form of camouflage. I mean,
That's cool.
insane, very crazy.
Who's the imposter?
There's 2 World's Wildest right there.
There we go. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
No, they're super cool. I think they'd be a good gateway bug because they're so large.
So people
and-
can actually see their features.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if we ever need a gateway bug, they need rescuing.
Get a giant weta.
They're really
Get your
cool.
526 PPQ and get a weta.
That's a permit we would need.
And then
for-
wear leather gloves.
just for the males. It's just the tree.
Yeah,
wetas.
yeah,
All
yeah.
the others are nice.
Yeah. But I mean,
Apparently, some of them have personalities. They have ambassador ones they were talking from the
anthropomorphizing. I mean, yeah, they can
Auckland
have
Zoo.
personality.
They were like, "Here's my favorite one. Here's like Bob or whatever," and like he just hangs out.
Do you want to look up something crazy real quick, just as a bonus? Look up a Malaysian jungle nymph female. I'll show you a crazy bug. You want to see a crazy bug? I'll show you a crazy bug.
There's a lot of crazy.
She's about to
bugs
one up you.
I'm about to one up you.
all the time.
They have spiked legs that they use like medieval torture devices. They'll snap you in their legs with a spike and stab you and go, "Wah!" and like catch you in there. And I mean, they're insane. Just watch. Just wait. They look like crickets on crack. They are giant. Like I'm talking, so I helped take care of an exotic insect zoo in a past life. And we had these Malaysian jungle nymphs. And they're about this big, full grown. And her name,
Size of a Pop-Tart.
her name was Sally. And Sally had medieval torture legs with spikes where she'd go, "Hoya!" and like snap you in them and draw blood. Crazy.
Ew.
Like kind of a Weta-ish looking general. Oh, there she is. Oh, and there's the male on top of her. They're getting on doing the dirty.
That's huge.
Huge.
She like with her antenna
It's like
is
10
the length
feet.
of a forearm.
Yes.
What?
Sorry, not 10 feet. 10 inches. I keep saying that. I
See,
keep
like
messing
the
up.
thing that's
It's a
like
10-foot long bug.
10 inches.
long, spiky.
What's 10
green
inches in
bug.
centimeters? I don't even know.
It's the forearm. It's the length of your forearm.
Yeah, wait, I have a picture of me with
Ish.
Sally.
It's crazy.
I know where at the end. I mean, it's crazy. Is all it is. It's crazy.
We can show them on the Patreon. It's kind of hard to show on
Yeah,
the phone.
I was just gonna show you.
Oh, we can
I
we
mean,
can do it
the
after.
audio listener, fine.
So, thank you so much.
Guys,
World's
crazy.
craziest.
world's
insects.
craziest bugs. I hope that you enjoyed this episode, our very first guest episode. Thank you to Dr. Allison for being here. What an excellent first guest. Let us
you
know
for
what you
having
guys
me.
think about the guest episodes and if we should do more.
I think you should.
Claire's
I
eating a
vote.
very expensive plant. I gotta go.
Okay.
Bye.
Well, like and subscribe. Check us out on Patreon if you have not already for bonus content for ad-free episodes.
I think you should.
We will go do a Patreon episode. We'll see you over there.
Patreon, like and subscribe.
Like and subscribe.
Love bugs.
Bye.
Bye.
This episode is brought to you by Shopify. Nobody does selling better than Shopify.
Upgrade your business and get the same checkout we use with Shopify. Sign up for your $1 per month trial period at shopify.com/wildest. Wildest is all lowercase. Go to shopify.com/wildest to upgrade your selling today. Shopify.com/wildest. WILDEST, all lowercase. Shop like Shopify. Cha-ching.
Cha-ching. Thank you, Shopify, for sponsoring this episode. That's Wildest, WILD.